Okay, I mean, I could just end it there, but this is a series, and I like to end it off properly. And so I feel like I need another, like, 10-minute video to finish off details of certain things. Like the championship, I need to kind of show the finishing points. Which are right here. Danny wins and almost has a world race perfect score. Maybe in like 2 or 3 more races he would have had that many, but the fact that he gets the same amount of points for winning and had 5 extra races in which to do so, and he still didn't win, just kind of really says a lot right there. Gearhead still never scored. Race Cam took that bullet from him. Or no, that did that actually. Not Gearhead, not Race Cam. What am I talking about? Race Cam was in 8th at the time. No, 9th. No. Where was Race Cam? It was 9th. I was in 8th. Gearhead finished 11th, and that took 10th from him. That singular point did so much, it didn't even matter. At that point, that was just being hateful. So the Gearhead's ego, which was definitely a focal point of the GBA Velocity X game, the robot has an ego. That thing has to be shattered. An ego of his now, because he didn't even finish in the top 10 ever. So you run through all the races. That's usually what this insinuates. I had to pick like a most thrilling event. I don't know. Trying to think of like the highlights. These two were pretty crazy to watch. Blackhawk County especially was kind of nuts. Highlands was okay, but then at the end when we finally discovered that Burns had enough of XT3's nonsense and just is willing to dump him just to gain a couple more points. That's kind of a big plot point right there. This one, I don't remember what even happened. I remember Mugello pretty well. That might be up there in the highlight reel. Mugello had literally a battle for first the entire race between at least 2 cars the entire time. I think someone scored their first points there. I want to say it might have been myself? Also, Justice with 11 points, and probably the second slowest car here. Well played. A big part of that, I think, came at, towards the end at, I think it was Vallelunga? Ladder Silverstorm, he got like 8th. I don't think it was Vallelunga, yeah. He got like 8th place or something like that. But yeah, it also had Ryan Storm's opportunistic double pass into the first corner. That was insane to watch. Plus then, I think it was like Alex and Danny were fighting or something like that at the same time. And I was remembering like, which one do I watch? Silverstone was interesting because I think Justice scored further points. He got like 9th there, I think. 66 Monza was not really interesting up front, but towards the middle of the field, that was, I think, a little entertaining. Nürburgring was really boring. I don't remember anything about that at all. Spa was... I don't know, I had to like watch all the races again, and then I could almost pick a highlight from like when I do a like assuming I can do the next part of this, which I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. I don't see why. It's not like it interrupts the Keyblade scheduling or anything, so I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. Monza was kind of thrilling. Actually, no, Monza might have been a highlight with Mugello there as well. So for the highlights, it would probably be between Long BCC, Black Cat County Long, Modern Monza, Classic Monza, and Mugello. I think there was something that happened at Laguna Seca that was thrilling, but I don't remember. So for 13 points, Danny does win the championship. It is another 14 back to Vert, and then another 11 back to Ryan from that. 15 separates Ryan from Metacog. And I think we kind of see the first big separation there. Those are the big 5 of the series, and then it's another 39 back to that. It was close with Byrne, only 3 points split them, and then Alex, another 9 back from him. And then we have the other split. No, actually 3 was in a really bad spot. He was better than the bottom 6. He wasn't as good as the top 8. I used to be that way in racing myself, though, so I kind of know what that's like. I was just kind of in that awkward middle area of, like, consistent 7 out of 12, pretty much. So yeah, that concludes that epilogue. I've gone this like several times. I believe, yeah, one's a returning character that I feel like Keyblade should have probably noticed wasn't there the first time, given how prominent a similar character was in this one. We had the Weirdo in White, who I keep forgetting to finish off his description of why he's here. He's just in his office, working on his next invention/creation. He's just kind of zapped to this random location, and there's a white sedan sitting there. And then he sees the Hot Wheels heroes race by him, because he says he's teleporting to this place he thought was in Italy, because he really enjoyed the pizza there. So it might have been probably watching, Monza, Modern Monza. And, he decides that because of how much it reminds him of what his normal job is, he figured he could be good at it. I don't think he's correct, but I mean, he might as well try. He's also kind of trying to find the person that brought him here as well, so he figures, might as well do some racing, figure out why I'm here, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and maybe meet some new people. Maybe I could have them be my assistant. Then we have the one that I made up completely. Not completely, but I based it very loosely off of something that Keyblade would not understand, for the sake of just putting the car there. So no, Gearhead didn't score any points. The difference between Gearhead and the newest driver to join the group, this guy wasn't there before. Gearhead has won races. The new driver, simply named the delivery guy, hasn't. Essentially, what the story was is that it's been a joke between some of the drivers that Danny ordered pizza, and instead of it being delivered the normal way in between races, a sudden Toyota just is spawned out of nowhere, and out of it walks a delivery guy holding 2 boxes of pizza. And of course, after the pizza is eaten, it is only then where the delivery guy kind of questions, "Now, how did I get here?" Especially given that at the time, they were, just finishing off Nürburgring, so they were in Germany. This guy lives in Japan. So how the heck he got there was confusing to the delivery guy, but it really wasn't to everyone else that was there at that point. And the delivery guy prides himself as being a pretty good driver, but the problem is that his delivery car is a delivery car and nothing more, and therefore won't be able to compete with the high-end production cars that everyone else is using. He might just be a one-off unless I can figure out a way to get him into a high-end production car somehow, but I think he might just be a one-off for episode 2. And I'm not going to say what the other 2 are. Well, actually, I'll end up saying the one when I describe them, since their name is literally who they are. And then it's not a joking name like the other 2. I intend to reveal the weirdo in white's actual name if, Keyblade figures it out, or if I deem it necessary to say who it is, or if it slips. It shouldn't be hard, I don't think, for Keyblade to figure it out. I mean, who dresses in white? It does something pretty similar to racing and event stuff. Let's just think on that for a moment there. Because I feel like you'll get it. And it's, I think, someone too, I jokingly suggested a while ago during Track Attack, and that went literally nowhere, but, well, that's part of the joke here. Because of how sporadic the organizer is, literally anybody could show up here. That's how I got here. That's how anyone got here, really. It's sort of become a joke between Danny and the rest of the group and the delivery guy that somehow the organizer was either ordering pizza of his own and was like, oh, you need pizza? Okay, I got you. Or just teleported to the wrong, or just happy coincidence. Though Danny's gonna probably assume that it was the organizer because somehow the delivery guy had the correct flavor and everything. And the correct toppings and everything. So, and that was no coincidence. And the third one, I've said this before, it's not totally unknown. It's actually a popular character from the 90s, but, it does kind of spoil a planned LP that Keyblade had from a long time down the line. That's, Blossom. It has appeared in... What did I even put her in? I put him in a Lotus Evora, I think. I can't scroll down, because then you'll see the other car. And it's going to be a while wait until we see the rest of them, because the other four's names and cars, because the plan that I had was basically today the third episode of World Racing. Turbo Racing will be going up. Today in its most literal sense. Basically, I'm going to wait until the end of his second recording session, so episode 10. And on that weekend, I will begin finding the organizer. Unless somehow, for some odd reason, Keyblade decides that that's no longer going to work, but he seemed to enjoy the first part of I guess season 1, would this be? You think about it, these are kind of extended Let's Plays. Whereas Let's Plays would be like 15 to 20 episodes of 15 or less, 15 minutes or so each. This has been 5 episodes of an hour each. So it's actually been like, yeah, 20 episode Let's Play here. Technically 21, because this one's actually going to be like almost a 15-minute extra feature at this point. Yeah, so of course, I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. Actually, I do know. What do you mean, you even kept the color? I'm not driving there. Where was the track Danny won? I'll just drive here. Okay, so these are stats on his car. It doesn't say top speed or acceleration, but I do believe its top speed is 190 miles an hour. 690 horsepower, but it weighs what I would believe is about 3,000 pounds. I'm just gonna look it up. Alright, so that thing weighs 3,318 pounds. It's a very heavy car. Especially when we'll be having similar power numbers in vehicles that weigh like half of that. The fuck? Oh, I know this is. This is not time trial. This is that weird, there's like a weird, time attack mode. It doesn't work out how you would think it would. It's actually like a checkpoint race. Almost like you'd see in really old arcade games, like a pole position, but without all the random cars in the way that make you blow up when you touch them. I don't know if F1 cars are really that unsafe. I guarantee you Formula 1 would not have lasted almost 100 years if everything just blew up when you touched something else. Yes, this is just how much the simulation goes into play here. Now I know some stuff about this. Oh my god, do you think Daniel is using maximum power? Oh. It's like Danny's final test, I suppose. I'm gonna do like 1 or 2 laps. And attempt to talk over this noisy vehicle. There's power! That's what I was afraid of. Of course, I can't drive this thing nearly as fast as Danny can. I'm making this thing look really terrible. I just won a championship, but I can't drive it because this game isn't meant for a controller. It's meant for a wheel. It's a PC game, I heard. Checkpoint. Great. Oh, it's like Diesel Dreaming. That's what this is. That's what this basically is. My pet has strength modified into a lean, mean racing machine. See, I watch more than Hot Wheels evade, I swear. Well, that's actually just more because I had the games myself. Check me out, Mr. Point. Please turn. Oh, I just damn that wasn't good for landing. But now I have to look back in the footage to see what kind of laps Danny was running in this car. This is begging for death. Power! And I expect to just hit the corner and just like instantly crash without traction control on. Ah, there it is. The tires are cold? How? I go through my life. I'm driving this vehicle to the best of my abilities, but this game is just not designed for PS4 controllers. It's designed for like purpose-built like in-home racing wheels that you would need to use just to even use a PC for racing games. That's a valid line. You didn't see that there. I'll finish this lap and I'll close off the video. I just want a little extra feature of what it looks like to play the game. Checkpoint! Help! 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 Okay, that's enough of that. Help! There's a drift play mode. There's a drift mode. It's not to say you can't race in this game. Obviously you can. That'd be dumb. I just don't. If it were a shorter track, I'd give you an idea of what the highest end type of racing car would be, but I can't do that. Because that's on the North Life, and that'd be a 6.5 minute lap. So that'll do it for Universe Zero Part 1. Well, Act 1, I guess we'll go with. Yeah, this is a theatrical play. Clearly. So, yeah. And I'll see you in about 2 weeks' time for Part 2, or Act 2, which is finding the organizer. Goodbye.